Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the Candida diet. This is a topic that could really be the key for so many people looking to get their energy back and improve their digestion. So let's get right into what it's all about. So let me ask you, does any of this sound familiar? That feeling of being tired all the time, no matter how much you sleep? Or that bloating that just never seems to go away? Or what about that mental fog that makes it so hard to focus? Well, these could all be signs that something deep inside your gut is a little out of balance. So what could actually be the culprit behind all these issues? Well, that brings us right to our first section. We're going to break down the core problem. What exactly is this thing called Candida overgrowth? Okay, so here's the interesting thing. Candida isn't some weird foreign invader. It's actually a type of fungus, a yeast called Candida albicans that lives in all of us, naturally. And as long as your body's internal ecosystem is balanced, it's totally harmless. The problem only kicks in when it starts to grow, and I mean really grow, completely out of control. So what throws this delicate system out of balance? Well, a few things can really tip the scales. A diet that's super high in sugar literally feeds the yeast. It's like throwing gasoline on a fire. Antibiotics, which are sometimes necessary, can unfortunately wipe out the good bacteria that are supposed to keep Candida in check. And of course, things like high stress or a weakened immune system, they basically create the perfect storm for this yeast to thrive. All right, now that we kind of get the problem, let's talk about the solution. This brings us to the core strategy of the diet itself. How does it actually work to get that crucial balance back? The whole strategy is actually pretty straightforward, and it really breaks down into three key parts. First, and this is the big one, you starve the yeast. You do that by cutting off its main food supply, which is sugar and refined carbs. Second, you start to bring back the good guys. You repopulate your gut with beneficial bacteria. And third, you support your body's natural defenses to help it heal and clean house. Okay, this brings us to the really practical part of this whole thing, what you'll actually be eating. Let's take a look at the foods that are going to become your new healing toolkit. So what's on the new shopping list? We are talking about tons of nutrient-dense, non-starchy vegetables like broccoli and spinach. Then you've got your clean, lean proteins to keep you full and support your body. Lots of healthy fats like avocado and coconut oil for energy. And super important, you've got fermented foods like sauerkraut to bring in those good bacteria, plus powerful antifungal herbs like garlic and ginger to help fight that overgrowth head-on. Now for the other side of the coin, because to really let their gut heal, there are some things you've got to eliminate, at least for a little while. And it's so important to understand why you're avoiding these. These foods are directly fueling the problem. Sugar, and I mean in all its forms, honey, maple syrup, you name it, is Candida's absolute favorite food. Refined carbs like white bread and pasta, they break down into sugar almost instantly. Alcohol also turns into sugar in the body, and processed foods can just wreak havoc on your gut. Cutting these out is absolutely essential if you want to starve that yeast. I know this might sound a little daunting, so let's make it real. What does a typical day of eating on the Candida diet actually look like? Is it just sad salads? Spoiler alert, it's far from deprivation. For breakfast, you could have delicious scrambled eggs with spinach and avocado, a great mix of protein and healthy fats. For lunch, maybe a big, satisfying salad topped with grilled chicken. And for dinner, something amazing and clean like baked salmon with steamed broccoli. See, the focus is on simple, whole foods that are actually super nourishing and satisfying. And what about in-between meals? To keep your energy up and stable, a simple handful of almonds or some celery with almond butter is perfect. Then in the evening, a soothing cup of chamomile or ginger tea is great for digestion and just helping you unwind. Really, consistency is key. All right, let's tackle some of the most common questions people have when they're just starting out on this diet, because getting clear answers can make all the difference, right? First up, the big one everyone asks. Is this my life now? Is this forever? Just how long do you need to stick with it? So, the general guideline is to follow the plan really strictly for about 4 to 8 weeks. After that initial phase, once your symptoms start getting better, you can begin to slowly, and I mean slowly, reintroduce some foods, just paying really close attention to how your body feels. Okay, next up is a big point of confusion for a lot of people: fruit. With all this talk about avoiding sugar, where does fruit even fit into the picture? And the answer is, yes, you can. But, and this is a big but,
The key is moderation and choosing the right kinds. Small portions of low-sugar fruits like berries or maybe a green apple or some lemon, those are perfectly fine. They give you valuable antioxidants without feeding the yeast.
Okay, let's just be real. This is probably the biggest challenge for almost everyone. Those intense cravings for sugar and carbs, especially in the first few weeks, they can be brutal. So how in the world do you manage them? Here are a few really practical tips. First, remember those cravings aren't just in your head. It's literally the yeast fighting back, screaming for its fuel source. To combat that, try upping your protein intake. It'll help you feel fuller longer. Staying super hydrated with water and herbal tea also helps a ton, and you can use natural flavor enhancers like cinnamon to help satisfy that sweet tooth without any actual sugar. Ultimately, all of this leads to a really powerful idea. This diet isn't just about restriction. It's actually a blueprint for healing your body from the inside out. It's about restoring that delicate balance to the absolute core of your system, your gut. So, the final question is really for you. Now that we walked through the problem, the strategy, and the path forward, are you ready to take that first step toward restoring your balance? Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer.